community to come and get to know what's going on, but the thing is, it's our turn to listen to you. That's what this is all about. We will answer some questions, and stuff, but the thing is, this is your time, all right, to share your input, what your concerns are. All right, what we do is we take them back with us to see how they fit within the amendments, that you're working with, from there. I provided the paperwork to at least explain to you, all right, the purpose of the charter and how it works. Some people feel that with the charter, it's the opportunity to bring in their concerns and use it as a disciplinary action. That's not what the charter is designed for. The charter's design is to make sure that the structure of the county works for the public. I need to stress that very much so. All right, because the thing is that we are responsible for what you're expecting us to do that's gonna benefit your lifestyle in the future. Whatever decisions are made, they're going to be made in November at the time of voting. Once that has been confirmed, all right, whatever has been either accepted, all right, it is locked in for 10 years. And it cannot be changed until the next 10 years. So this is what we have to really focus on is, yes, these are some of the things I want to do. If I do implement it, what is the end result? And would it benefit me? All right, there. All right, so I really want you guys to really focus on that because it's really important, because once you put ink on paper, once it goes forward, once it goes to the ballot, then it's solidified, that is it until the next 10 years, okay? So that's very important about that. But this time is for us to listen to you. That's what's important for us, all right? Because we want to make sure that your needs is going to align to what the amendment has, all right? Or we can say, we can look at it and say we can revise this, all right, if it meets that threshold, okay? Is there any question about so far before we start? Okay. Once again, my name is Brenda Molesky. I'm in District 2, Position 2, your representative here for this district. Here we have Elizabeth Herrera, she's District 2, Position 3. Then I have Billy Heatherton, District 2, Position 1. We are the ones that you voted for to represent you here in this district. There. So without further ado, we are here to listen to whatever concerns and questions that you have. What do you think, honey?
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
So,
Okay, before you do, what's your name?
my name is Tia. I live up in Edgewood.
Okay, Kia or Tia?
T-E-E-A.
Okay.
How and when or where is it written down that the charter review can only be reviewed every 10 years? What is it based on? That number?
So the charter was adopted in 1980. So in the state of Washington, the state of Washington has allowed counties to adopt a charter. And the charter is basically, so you have your state constitution, and the charter, obviously we have to follow the state constitution, but a charter can go above and beyond that on how they want to govern their county. Currently, out of 39 counties, 7 are charter counties. And so written in the charter and is how the county is governed, right? But written in that charter also said there has to be a review of the charter every 10 years. So in Pierce County here, so every 10 years, we have to put our names up, people submit their names to go to the ballot. There's 3 positions for each of the 7 county council districts, so there's 21 total charter members. That's why we had to submit our names just like any other political person, go to the ballot, get elected by the people. It doesn't have to be that way. Like in King County, they have written in their charter where their charter review folks are appointed. They're appointed by council or appointed by the executive's office and whatever matrix that they set up there too as well. But in this county, but King County, just like this county, is every 10 years their charter is reviewed. So there has to be a mechanism in there to change whatever the charter, however the charter is written. So yeah, it was adopted in 1980. Now it's every 10 years it gets looked at.
So that could be amended if the people of Pierce County thought we should review this more often.
It could be amended that we review every 5 years. I don't think it could probably go longer than every 10 years. It could change to be like King County could be a appointed position or it could be elected position, so.
So for an example, Clark County, they have people serving for 2 years, but it's stepped up to 5 years. So each county is a little different based on their geographic and how that culture works for it to benefit them at that time.
Yeah, a couple things about our position and the uniqueness of it is, it's a voluntary position, we don't get paid at all. It's only 6 months, so June 30th, basically after midnight on June 30th, we're unelected. We serve from January 1 through the end, January through the end of June. So it's a very tight window that we have to be able to make changes in that document, right?
Yeah, so estimate wise, we're tracking up to 28, maybe by 30 by the 13th of April. The 13th is our drop down date when our last amendment could be submitted.
Was that April or May?
April.
Thank you.
And Monday night at midnight is the last night that either any of us, 21 of us, could make amendments, or we can seek amendments from the public, so 13th at midnight.
Anybody else? Yes.
My name is Wendy Wright, I live on South Hill in Luella. I submitted an amendment to, a moratorium on housing developments until the entire infrastructure is in place. Sewers, roads, water supply, electricity, and most importantly, schools. The Sunrise development and that, developments and some others have greatly impacted the schools. Charlotte, Bethel, Orient especially impacted by Sunrise, which they keep building. And the impact fees are not, they're just a pittance of what's required for roads and infrastructure, and especially schools. They don't even begin to compensate school districts for the added students and,
What do you want your amendment to do?
to put a halt to all these housing developments that continue, especially South Hill and on South to, all the way to Eatonville and Enumclaw. But especially, like I said, Sunrise, I live on 144th, and I've been there 7 years, and it's just phenomenal how many housing developments have done in a short period of time. I've been there. Traffic, of course, is just a nightmare. Meridian, 122nd and 94th, 7 to 9 a.m. and after 3, 6 or 7 are coming. It's just stop and go, which is frustrating, adds to air pollution. It's just a mess.
One thing I can speak to that, Wendy, I mean, there's, like Commissioner Milewski said, it's like, there's certain things that the charter, that belong in the charter, and certain things that we can do through ordinance or through legislation, right? Or that the county council can do, we can't. But, I mean, a moratorium on housing or something like that in there, I don't know how it would fit, but to lock out housing or something, say for 10 years until charter gets reviewed again is kind of probably unrealistic. But if you look at Commissioner O'Leary's amendment C-22, that basically puts, if you go to the website, you can look at it, but I'll read it for you here. It talks about making sure that infrastructure, roads, water, sewer, storm is put in a high priority. Make sure that the council has to look at these things, because we have deteriorating infrastructure, obviously, here in Pierce County, around the state, right? And so it's a state issue, but also a local issue. But making sure that the county council has to prioritize infrastructure of all kinds is that what that amendment is trying to do, and I am in support of that. It's C-22.
C-22.
Right.
I have gone to council member meetings, and I've worked with council members. They know, and they know, my priorities, so.
So we recommended you look at Yeah, we recommend that you look at C 22 and just review
Okay.
that. I
Alright.
think it'll provide, hopefully answer some of the concerns that you have. I saw a hand raised, hold on, Colleen, I had one.
Yeah, just first, is that right?
Real quick, right, share, right?
Yes,
I just wanted to know,
let me have your name first.
Rebecca Okamura Davis, I also live on South Hill.
Yeah.
When they're talking about infrastructure, does it actually cover schools as well? Because the buildings in the school district are falling apart, and they're talking about having to close a couple of them, the elementary schools, because they are actually falling apart. They're unsafe for
Is this South
students.
Hill?
Well, the schools that they're specifically talking about closing are not in South Hill. I
Oh,
live
okay.
in South Hill.
Okay.
But it is still part of this Puyallup School District, which encompasses most of District Two, I believe.
Right.
I just wanted, I'm not, because I'm new to this.
Yeah.
I didn't know when they talk about infrastructure, prioritizing infrastructure, does that mean schools as well, like investing in the schools or acquiring the?
So that's gonna be a little different.
Okay.
In regards to that, this one here, C 22, it was geared more to the roads and structure and expansions, you know, what would expansions do to traffic, the roads, bridges and all of that from there. But it does not mean that you cannot go on the website and contact, Jerome O'Leary, all right? That's his forte, all right, and ask him that question.
Okay.
All right, and then he can provide more clarity on that, and it might fit. That way they can say, well, let me revise my amendment to ensure this was
Okay.
going to work out.
And his information is on the website?
Yes.
Mhm.
And I might be mistaken on this, but to forms of government like school districts and county government are completely different silos. So unfortunately,
Right.
through the charter only covers what the county council.
But would it count, like, the county is determines the impact fees that the school districts receive? So that is
Okay.
where my question
I
is.
see where you're
Yeah, that's what I said,
saying.
yes, yeah, Jerome would be,
Jerome O'Leary?
O'Leary, yes, so when you go on the website and look at who has been voted for charter, you'll see our names under each one of your district maps, all right, and so you'll find he's in District 1. All right, so you'll see his name on there, and so you can click on his name, we'll bring up the email, and then, you can be able to ask his question for more clarity on that.
Does District One have listening sessions still to come?
I don't know,
I didn't see it posted.
I didn't see it posted.
There's a little, map calendar on there right there. I know that pretty sure they've got an in-session meeting too, so that's one thing too, is we're going to be traveling around the county here coming up, so typically our meetings are at the annex in Pierce County. But, so if you wanna attend a future meeting, I'm just saying, please check the calendar, because we're gonna be probably the second half moving around a lot.
Right, so right now for District 2, all right, we're pending the approval, I know it's gonna be locked in, but we're gonna be at Rogers High School, all right, on the 18th of May, at 6 p.m. Okay,
That's the
so,
entire commission, though, right?
The entire
Your
commission.
commission meeting for
Yeah,
that,
right.
Friday night is at that location.
Correct.
We're not in Tacoma.
correct.
What is the date of that?
May 18th. Six.
And it's also on the website on the calendar.
Has not been posted yet.
Oh, it has, oh.
No, that's what I'm saying, it's pending, all right, I just finished it today, all right, so we should see it hopefully by Friday, Monday times.
Could you clarify, you said Rogers?
Yeah, Rogers High School.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hold on for a second, Colleen.
I wanted to clear up one of the questions about the housing. The housing is part of the Growth Management Act, mandated by the state. I don't know if you know that or not. So, yes, if there's an infrastructure issue, that could be the county. So when they're doing the permits, that's one of the things that I appreciate about what, Commissioner O'Leary's doing, is he's addressing that infrastructure issue. So that C-22 is a real important one to put back on the county, because they're building houses, like you said, houses, and there's no, increase in roads, access, or anything. So that's one of the things that I would be going on. We can't do anything about the housing, that's mandated by the state, but certainly the infrastructure could be a whole lot better.
So I remember when Bruce was serving, I mean, that was his thing, when I last spoke to him. Their main thing is to try to put as much, single-family homes in the smallest space as possible. All right, they're trying to reduce the bigger square footage homes and so forth, and try to put more tinier homes in, for that population, because more tiny homes bring more capital and apartments and stuff like that in there. So that's why you're seeing all of this is happening. So this, what you're seeing is what has already been approved some years ago, all right, and stuff, and it's just continuing from there. Sir?
Question, the meetings you're gonna have in May, since the last date to submit proposals is next Monday,
Yes, sir.
will you be, is the process locked down at that point? I know you're still.
No, it's continuing.
Okay,
So you'll see our hair standing up on hand and
but will there be still proposed amendments to the proposals that are out there?
no,
Okay.
no.
Not even within the.
Not even within we're not within the public and not within the committee.
I see, right.
Yeah, and if you've noticed, like, our last agenda was 4 pages, right? So, and we haven't, the last 2 meetings, I think the last 3 meetings, maybe, we haven't even gotten through the full agenda. So locking that in, we have to have a date to stop that, so we can start chipping away at the work.
Yeah, because right now, we're close to almost 30 proposals. And you gotta narrow it down to where it fits on the ballot. So that's the thing, so.
That's kind of where it's going with my question, are those meetings to explain to the public at that point?
Correct, yeah, that is still open, yes. Public is still open, and us discussing those things, so the public knows what we're trying to decide is still open.
This will be public comment, where you can comment on a certain amendment or whatever.
Yeah, that's ongoing.
And we could still amend the amendments, so that's the thing, is that your input is still gonna be valuable at that point, whether it's through email or public comment or anything like that, as long as things are still working through what we deem the hopper, they're still able to.
So the charter commission, you may still be amending amongst yourselves.
Correct, correct. But based on either the input from you,
Yeah.
or what we gather from other resources.
Is that true of the ones that are in the hopper?
Yes,
Oh, so they can be amended later then,
Yes.
even after
yes.
Okay,
Yes, the hopper just means that, these are the ones that were finally made it to that point, and then we got more of an aggressive, discussion after that.
thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else?
So one of my concerns are your, what was it, conflict of interest. There were several, on amendments on conflict of interest, and it seemed to me like there's one specific that they're looking at, but there's a lot of commissioners that have served in Pierce County on commissions and so forth, which also could be called into question as far as a conflict of interest in how they're working with the county in the commission, say the planning commission or parks or whatever. So I'm thinking that those probably should be killed just for that reason. When you have that many people on your commission that are already involved in Pierce County on other commissions or job situations, maybe not job, but definitely commissions or committees of some sort, that those should be looked at as a possible no-go.
Right, I'll let Liz elaborate a little bit on that, all right? She's got some background experience on this thing here, and stuff, so it gives you an idea of where we're standing right now and what the perception is in regards to, those that might be working within the county, or council versus participating in the charter.
Sure, so, my view on conflict of interest, thank you for bringing it up, and you're absolutely correct. There have been a couple amendments, in my opinion, one of them a little bit targeted for really no reason. We all live and work in this community, and there's no way to avoid some things, whether it's where you work, who you're related to, and such things. So I'm kind of viewing those amendments to, I would love to see those just go away. I don't think they're good for business. I don't think they're good for Pierce County. They don't make sense. They're a little bit targeted, biased, unfortunately, and I think we can do better as a county to not focus on, focus on, how people live their lives, and just, and it doesn't have to be a political thing. We don't have to make this political. And like I like to remind everyone, this is a there's supposed to be a non-political, commission, we don't have to declare a party, and very short term, 6 months. And we do not get paid 1 cent to be here, we're volunteers. We all ran on the best interest of helping, move this charter along, helping, guide the, charter and the public to the real issues, of what's going on, if there are any. So that's where I'm at with conflict.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can add a little bit. I don't know if folks seen the executive's office came down, last Monday night and talked a little bit. And, one of the things that we ran into is you cannot work for the county at all, and serve as a charter commissioner, but there's a lot of people that know the way government runs at the county, and that expertise might be valuable in a situation, as a charter member. So to be honest, like, I mean, and it goes back to, we only vote to put it to the voters, right? So it's the fact that, somebody that works at the county, might recuse themselves from an individual vote on an issue that might affect their position. And we've had some of those. If you watch some of our votes, we have some folks that are running for office, within the charter, and they recuse themselves. So I think having people that, that work just in daily county offices and stuff like that, I don't see a problem with those folks serving on charter and allowing us to learn from them about how the daily runnings of the county work.
Well, and that's how come I voted for some of those people, is because they had some background in Pierce County and would bring expertise to the table. I never thought for a minute that they would have amendments to exclude those people that are bringing expertise to the table. So I'm thinking that's like a conflict of interest all by itself.
But one thing that, though, on that, not that I'm saying that's wrong or anything, but those people, when they filed for office, they should have known they couldn't serve, right? So I mean,
True.
So you kind of wasted your vote on that. I mean, you probably didn't know, but at least them running filing for office should have known, if I win, I gotta quit my job that feeds my family and puts a roof over my head, right, to actually serve on this, right? But I agree that, in this position, the charter, someone that works for the county and has expertise should be allowed to serve.
And see, right now, both sides have shown an example of where we need to fix. Because when we have submitted our application, all right, they, whoever handles the application for that,
The county election.
the election office, they should have known that when they reviewed our bio. Because in our bio, we're not gonna exempt anything out of our background. All right, so that is, they had 2 opportunities, all right, which was the time that we submit to run and at the primary. All right, and that's when everything should have taken place, and it did not, so this is how it generated from there. I have a question here.
So, when bio was reviewed, was that done by the auditor's office?
You talking about our personal bio?
Yeah,
No, we had everything we had to initiate ourselves.
okay.
Right.
But who reviewed the
Right.
bio?
That's what
Reviews the bio.
they're supposed to, but that's a good point. When we started, they had Lori presentation, I got her name. So she explained that was one of the questions that we asked, and that was one question that I asked, was why wasn't it reviewed beforehand? And so the only thing that they review is to make sure that when names spelled correctly and the address is correct. They didn't review any deeper than the basic. Right.
Sorry, and that's what, it's not the job of the elections office to deem if you're a viable candidate or not, right? And so there's certain things that we were required to serve, to live in Pierce County for 5 years, right? But nobody checks that. Now if somebody were to, lack of a better term, whistleblow and call somebody out on that, then there could be an independent review or whatever. I don't know how that works, but.
Liz. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in regards to the conflicts of interest, like, what's the nexus of all this?
Say again.
What's the nexus of all this? Like, why is this now an issue? A few of us are long in the tooth here. I remember when the Ladenburgs were serving all over the place. Nobody said a word. Nobody said a word. All of a sudden, it's a huge deal. And aren't there more people too that are on this board? And if so, where are they? There's 3 of you. Thank you for showing up. Where's the rest of you?
No, we represent the district, so it's.
Okay, then my
It is
bad.
there, so just the
Then
three
we're
of
good.
us, sir.
Okay.
They're going, if you
All
want
right,
to
so
meet
I'll
more,
retract that.
we got
That's
a
it.
member from District 3 right here too as well.
I live in
so.
UP, I live in UP, so yeah, but I live.
Show
There's
up Monday at the annex.
Okay.
Regular meeting.
But, sorry, real quick to your point, is because the charter spells it out. The charter spells it out that you can't have, there's language in the charter that says there cannot be a conflict of interest.
Right, but you said it's 1980. I was here in 1980. I actually went to school with a few of the Ladenburgs. I know them well.
Mhm.
Wasn't an issue. So why is it now an issue?
Well, the thing is that is a very deep hole. I'm gonna try to keep it as civil as possible. I gotta keep it as civil as possible, because we gotta remember, we're serving on this thing, so whenever we stay, we need to make sure we be able to stay in our seat. So the
Well,
thing
I'm
is,
sitting in the back, so
I
I
appreciate
just wanna
you.
make sure
I
you guys see
appreciate
me.
it. So the things, there were controversies, all right? The one controversy came up the day prior of us starting, all right, which was not right. It wasn't fair. The first one was a gentleman, that served on the county. He received notice in December, all right, that he had to be either leave his job to serve on the charter or else. So he decided to leave his job, all right, and serve on the charter. What bothered us the most is that the person that was, the second person that was notified was not notified until the day before we started, which was this young lady right here. All right, and so that was the question that we asked. If you knew that these people were county employees, everybody should be contacted at the same time. All right, so that shows fairness in regards to the action that you wanted to take in regards to them either staying on employment or staying for the charter. And that's the thing. So the thing is that it'd be easy for me to say, there's a conspiracy thing going on here, but I don't wanna go there because I don't wanna answer any more questions that's gonna lead you down the rabbit hole, because I have no evidence base or whatever on that. I could say that Liz could share her experience of what she went through that process, but I don't have any evidence to confirm that that's the case.
I'd like to speak a little bit to that as
That's
well.
what I said.
So there were 4 employees from Pierce County that ran for charter, 2 actually won. One of the people that did not win is the current, what is she, what is she, what's her title? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the, chief of staff for the current executive, Ryan Mellon. So, and she's an attorney. So she did not win, she ran and did not win. And also said she did not know that there was this conflict, because it's never been enacted before. So anyway.
Instead of addressing each of the individual issues and things that are happening with the conflict of interest, isn't this why you are addressing conflict of interest in general? Because it can exist. So you're looking at this amendment and you're gonna work out the amendment to be a guide for what makes a conflict of interest, so you don't have to have these ideas and theories and.
But that's what I'm trying to stay away from that, all right, because.
This is what you're working on.
Right, that's what we're working on.
Yeah.
The thing is, we gotta look at it on a broader sense, all right? And like the gentleman has stated, I've been here in Peel for 26 years. Retired out of service. You know, and I knew Colleen Wise and some of the other ones. There were many people that we knew that served, family members that served. So our biggest one is, Roach, Camp and Dan, mother and son. All right, served on the county council, serving 2 different districts. All right, so it's very challenging to work on this, because currently we do have family members that work in different positions. All right, so once this go out, once again, I'm a person of a domino effect. Once you initiate one thing to make it happen, all right, others are gonna take those same ideas and run with it and make it happen at their other areas or their districts or places. So that's why we have to be extra careful in regards to that. So what you're saying is right. It is a general thing. I don't, you know me, I don't like personalities. But the thing is, when we're doing general, we have to make sure that at the end result, all right, it has to fit the community, not just the person. All right, we have to look at that result. Yes.
can I just make like a comment to that?
Oh, definitely.
I'm somebody that has not lived here for 26 years, comes from a different area, and maybe there are other people like me that are concerned when there are these long-standing things, and our district and our county are changing, and maybe the long-standing tradition of having the same people and the same families be in charge is not reflective of our current population, and maybe that's why this conflict of interest thing is coming up now rather than in 1980, 45 years ago.
Understood, you brought up a good valid point, all right, which is a little different here. So the thing is, we're talking about somebody serving the seat for so many years. We are working on an amendment like that right now, where they want to make it where we have 3 consecutive terms, which is not my thing.
Instead of 2,
Instead
Brenda.
of 2, all right, so that's a different ballgame on it. You're right, but that's a different ballgame on it, all right? So we're lucky because somebody's staying here for so many years.
I'm not speaking, well, I was speaking more towards like the families and
No,
the
I'm
interconnected.
with you on that. Because there's some that has that, there's some that has that, you know, agenda, all right? And I'm not gonna say it's not possible, I'm just saying the possibilities are there. So what you're saying is right, in regards to that. So, but the thing is, once again, it's a valid point, it's something that we need to look at, all right? But once again, we're recommending you guys, what's the word we're using now, aerobics? All right?
Aerobics.
The aerobics, yeah, and go out there and voice that, all right? The one thing that I
Is this not
noticed,
the place to do that?
yes, that's why I gave you everything on it.
Yay, you're here. Oh, good job. I just wanted to make sure that I was addressing the right.
So the thing is that, that's why it's so important, that we need you guys, not just here, we need you into that computer and submit your comments. Okay, just, hold on, Colleen, I got one in the back.
Hi, Mary Ann. I'm just curious, I'm new to the game here, so how long is a term?
Okay, these,
4 years?
are we talking?
So I'm just wondering, so you said something about 3 terms as
Right.
opposed to, so that would be 12 years?
Yes.
Right,
Okay,
Right.
as opposed to the current, is currently 8 years now?
right.
Okay.
So, let me speak on that a little bit. So yeah, currently, what we're trying to do is align, actually, whether you're for or against it, but there's some terms, some positions in Pierce County that can serve 3 terms, some that can only serve 2 terms. So aligning that to have all positions across the board be able to serve 3 consecutive terms. That's a term limit, so once you've served that 12 years, you're not able to serve again in that position. It aligns pretty well. King County, for example, in their council, no term limits. There's been people that have served there for 20. Pete Van Reitbauer from just here, South King County, has been on the council there for well over 20 years, right? So it's not even really that common to have term limits. Here in Puyallup, you know that the council members here can only serve 3 terms. But there's a lot of cities out there that don't have term limits, or councils that don't have term limits. What they're trying to do is just align things. And whether, I mean, it was mentioned earlier that government kind of moves slow. Well, I mean, you know, kind of things do move a little slow, and to maybe be able to get more established in your position, be able to get more done for your community. Maybe it's better that you have 12 years to do that, and you still got to get reelected twice. It's not like it's not a 12-year term, but you're able to maybe do a little bit more in 12 years than you could possibly in 8 years, right? That's the thinking behind it.
Hold on, Colleen, yes.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Lauren, I'm new to this as well, so, with the 12-year term, are we, I guess my thing is, I'm new to this, so I kind of feel like this is turning into like a political thing, and we're supposed to be nonpartisan, is that correct, what this charter is?
Right.
So are we, with like, when we're trying to like advocate for things, I just feel like it's kind of turning into like a political thing, is that, I've never been a meeting before, is that kind of how this is supposed to go, or is it?
No, it might sound like that, but it's not. This is people's concerns, all right? And they're valid concerns to them. It might sound like political, but it's not, and we're not gonna provide opinions on that, all right? We might give advice or whatever, but we're not gonna say this is where you need to go. We're just gonna provide clarity. So it's a good question, all right, because that is the concern for everybody. And we
I
gotta-
didn't say it wasn't, I was just trying to.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
You're right, it is political.
Yeah, I just.
Period.
It absolutely is.
But, you know, some people, I just, I can't go
Absolutely.
down that road. I just can't go down that road. Yes.
Getting back to conflict of interest, was there an amendment, dealing with elected officials? Or am I?
Yeah, there's two different amendments, and I can't remember them off the top of my head. Obviously, we're dealing with 30 of them now, but, yeah, there's two separate amendments that handle it different ways.
Yeah, I just remember that, and I would be in favor of a strong conflict of interest.
But once again, we're saying, go online, look at those amendments, all right? They need your input, isn't that right? They need your input, all
Yeah,
right?
simple emails to us to say, you know, I live in the district, I approve of this, you know, especially in a situation there where there's two separate amendments that attack the issue in different ways. Let us know, not only if you have input to try to change something, but also if you're just for or against something, right? I mean, that's
the purpose of all of this, is to do that. Colleen, you're ready to go.
My comment was, don't forget to let them know about Zoom, because they can Zoom this on Monday nights, and you also can comment from home on Zoom. And it's really easy if that's what you would like to do. I have to say 4-hour meetings or, you know, when it gets 10
It was
o'clock.
rough, yeah.
I hit the off button at 10 o'clock. I apologize, I don't hear anything after 10 o'clock. But, from 6 to 10, I'm pretty much on board. But, just let people know there is a way. If you just type in, Pierce County Charter Review, you will get the webpage, and it gives you a ton of information on how this works and what happens. And my only comment about the time of service from 2 to 3 or whatever you want to do to align that, I don't want some of the council members to be voting on this or being on this part of the charter review, and then 12 years later they're still serving in office on the next charter review. They should be rotated out before the charter review.
Thank you, Colleen, I appreciate that. Anyone else?
In the traveling thing sessions that you're doing, it's gonna be exactly the same format that we Zoom, and it's gonna be recorded.
Right.
No matter where you're at, you'll set that same set.
Correct, because like, you know,
Technologically, challenging.
technology always works.
Well, you know what, you're doing well, let me tell you. But yeah, it's our responsibility to make sure that we find that location that provides those same amenities, right, so that the public can interact. I got a hand up, okay, I've got my guy in the back, give me 1 second, let me get a new person.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Vicki. I've lived here since 1989, which doesn't give me any more of a voice than anybody who's been here 2 years. I get really tired of hearing the OGs just saying that I've been here this long and it should be this way. No, everybody should have a voice, so that's my first thing. I caught the tail end, my apologies for being late, but one of the things that I'm hearing is the conflict of interest. And for me, I think we need to put something in place that stops the candidate from running. We should never have gotten to that point whatsoever. If there's a conflict of interest, it should be reviewed and handled way before an election. And I thought, and I don't mean to call anybody's name out, and I shouldn't, but as soon as I saw one person there, I was like, wow, isn't that a conflict of interest? That's the first thing that hit my brain, and I'm surprised that it didn't hit the voters. So anyway, that's enough from that. But I really believe in my heart that should be handled before it ever got to an
Well,
election.
that was my question when we first started.
Oh, sorry, I was
When
late.
the lawyer asked, you know, so I couldn't comprehend this, all right? Because the thing is that the voters are trusting to have the right people that they're voting for to be in
Yeah.
that seat. You know, so that is what, but the lawyer also stated that it was too vague and we need to fix it. So, you know, the thing is that we need to make sure the right wording's in there, and hopefully that might correct that problem there.
If we fix it, does it amend the situation, or do we have to wait 10 years?
You can wait 10 years.
Just curious.
You know, good question. All right, my guy in the back.
Yeah, in regards to changing from 2 4 years to 3 4 years, not me, but I'm sure there's a few people here, you know, chanting this and that about no kings, but yet you want to champion this, you know, to get these elected. Here's the bottom line: the ones that are currently 2 4 year, just leave it alone. It doesn't need to be changed. Like, why are we changing it? I mean, there are plenty of other things to do. The roads around here are crappy for once. Let's just concentrate on those. I mean, seriously, that should be like a full-time job for everybody. lowering taxes, and there's a plethora of other things that go about, but why can't we just leave well enough alone?
Can you give me a reason why you believe it should be just 2 terms?
Sure.
Okay.
Like I stated, like, why now? Like, why can't we just leave well enough alone? There are other issues too, and I just named one. I can go into others, you know, leave law enforcement alone. You know, I'm pretty politically savvy. I know where a lot of this is coming from. That's why I used the word, what's the nexus, in my first time I spoke. I know where the nexus is coming from. I know where it's coming from. There's a few of you in here that also know, you know, as far as the conflict of interest too. I know exactly where that's coming from. You're either going to ignore it or you don't. And the charter as it is now, it's vague. It's vague on purpose. All of us have worked in places where, in HR, a lot of the policies and procedures, they're vague on purpose. So they can have some nuance in there. If they like you, it's no big deal, we'll just let it go. It's just old Joe here and, you know, or old Mary, you know, we like them. You know, they're on the right political side here. Oh, we don't like this one though. Boom, let's nail them. Oh, we can just get this thing out from 1980, we're gonna enforce that now. That's exactly what's going on here. And it stinks. That's all I wanna say.
Just to your point, you know, I've had some conversation with the person that brought forward the changing of the 2 to 3.
Are they connected to the executive?
I'm not sure, but no.
Hold on, you should be sure though, right?
But
Shouldn't you?
all I'm asking is,
Take that as
there
an answer.
there are terms out there, there are positions out there that are 3 terms, there's some that are 2 terms.
Yeah, leave them alone.
So would you like us to move the ones that are 3 terms down to 2 terms?
No.
In a line? Or we're
nope.
just trying to align?
No, but why though? You don't need to.
I mean, then why do we have a charter review? Why don't we just keep this?
No. That's a red herring you're throwing in there. I'm not going for that. I'm not one of those people you can just throw a red herring out there. No, that's not gonna work. No, just leave well enough alone. Why do you need to do it? That's why I'm asking what the nexus is. I want you guys to go on record, and I believe you do know where this is coming from. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I believe you absolutely know. You're a union guy, so that tells me a lot right there. I know what the hat means. So I know where your, well, I'll go with this hand. I know where your side is. So hey, don't be embarrassed. Own it, man. It's okay.
No, I'm just saying. I'm glad you know exactly who I am, the type of person I am, by just looking at my hat.
I'm commenting on your hat. You're a union guy.
Yeah, so that makes me
Left wing.
All right,
if all unions are so left wing.
You have a politician whispering in your ear as you're
Let me do housekeeping. Those who know me know how I am. We're not gonna go down that road, all right? No name callings, no nothing. We have the right to opinions, but I don't want.
In my opinion.
All right, but thank you. But I do
There.
not want to go down rabbit holes. There has to be some respect across the board.
Well, there was no respect there.
No,
That's why
so the thing is, I need.
You're not gonna show me, and I'm not gonna show you.
Yeah, I need to kill it, all right, because that's not what we're here
Struck a
for,
nerve there.
okay? I'm here to listen, but not not going down that road. All right, hold on, she was up there, and I'll get you.
For what it's worth, you said that they're 8-year terms, right? Or,
2
4 years or whatever. Just on the standpoint of like, you know, transitioning, like getting new blood in, I think that would be the best way to stick to. I mean, as far as that goes, because 12 years, yeah, I get with like, you know, having the time to, you know, put things in order and whatnot and get it, you know, something passed or whatever. But to keep it, you know, rotating, get new people in, I think 12 years is a really long time.
So fresh mind, fresh blood, fresh mind.
Yeah, you know, just kind of keep it cycling so that it doesn't get to the point where it's stagnant, like, and I can't remember your name, I'm sorry, but you were saying, like, there's some places, I know the gentleman, you were saying there's some places that don't even have,
Term.
right, so, I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, I think 8 years is, in my opinion, you know, I think that would be plenty. 12 years seems a bit extreme.
Just avoiding complacency.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, lefty radical here. just for comical purposes. No, I think, and here's the thing, so I'm gonna have, I got a couple points I wanna make on a few different things here. So I think on the term limit thing, I think 8 makes a lot more sense. But, and the reason being is that we see people that get in there for a long term. Jim Castman is a great example of this. He doesn't give two shits about what anyone says at this point, because he's got his retirement cleared and he's been there he'll hit his 12 years. And I think 8 years, quite frankly, is better. We get people that are more ferocious for it. They really want to have that active serving, where some folks, when they've been in office for over 40 years, they go from one office to the next, to the next, to the next. And they lose out perspective. And you can see that on the right and the left, in all honesty, people. And so that's where I think, I do agree with the uniformity, kind of where Billy's going on this one. Like, you should either have them all be 3 or all be 2. And because that makes more sense, it's less confusing. I would personally go 2. Other things I think are important, just hearing them come up, I think project labor agreements are a great thing. We're seeing some, like, I came from SoCan, I'm one of the newer residents. We are seeing some positives in there in terms of employment with project labor agreements that are going in place over there. They did at the city level. I think the county level, you can put a set amount of dollars, be like, projects below this don't need it, but projects over this amount of dollars do. And I think that's a great way to ensure employment for people in the county. And I think that's, in all honesty, one of the things that cuts through all of y'all's voters' guides is jobs. We want jobs, we want good paying jobs. And that's a great way to do it. Conflict of interest, I mean, my partner's an elected, I mean, I should never be able to set her salary, because clearly as school board member, she makes so much. But, she makes as much as you all make. But it's one of those things where I don't want family members setting salaries. That should be a clear thing within conflict of interest. And then the last thing for me always, and I enjoy it greatly, I think one of two things should happen with regards to sheriff. We either A, need standards such as saying like the sheriff has to be able to testify so they can't be on a Brady list, or we should go to an appointed sheriff. One or the other, I'm happy with either. But I do think like when considering the other law enforcement oriented positions in the county have some level of standards, that should be consistent. You know, so it's like a judge has to be like in the bar. The prosecutor has to be in the bar. We should have some kind of, if we're gonna stay with an elected sheriff, we should at least have some kind of standard, because that just matches the rest of what goes on within the law enforcement arena. So.
On the project side, you want to talk about that? That's one of your minutes.
Yeah, C12, if you're interested, you can check that out. I put that forth with Representative Strickland of the 5th. It would put in purchasing, the purchasing piece in Article 9, that the county shall be able to enforce either project labor agreements, community workforce agreements, you know, on their projects, right? So it's not mandating the county to do any such thing. Basically, it is saying that they shall do that. You know, they've been implemented, the programs have been implemented all around the state. The governor's actually done an executive order on such, and just felt that it's a good way to, Councilmember Herrera, when he came and spoke to us, he noted that the people that live, the working class, the workers that live in District 2, only 7,800 actually live and work in District 2, when over 45,000 of them travel outside of District 2 each and every day to go to work. One of the components of a program like this is to give priority hire to people that live local to work local. So it puts more money in people that are good paying jobs back into residents of Pierce County, not only District 2, but Pierce County, and then in turn they spend it back in their communities, which you know, makes us better as a community as a whole. Question?
Yeah, on that subject, usually project labor agreements, you know, they're union, and when members of unions hear about a job, they'll come from old other town or state and come in to take those jobs. What happens to the locals, they're out of the job. So that doesn't happen, so the argument doesn't hold water, what you just said.
As far as, but there are mandates and programs that have stood up that mandate that people living in the community, there's so much percentage of folks of hours that are performed on the job that have to be done by local residents.
You know, the city of Tacoma had a system set up.
Yeah,
and it was gonna go to the city council, and all of a sudden it died. And the people seem to have forgotten the whole subject on that. And, it was the Labor Council that killed it.
What is it, project agreement, is that one?
Project labor agreement. So it's an agreement that allows for no strike clause. It unifies the wages across the board. It ensures that every person on that job would get medical benefits, retirement benefits. It puts standards on, again, local hire, using percentage of minorities, small businesses, would-be contractors, higher apprenticeship standards. You know, there's a lot of things across the board. I know Mariana, I just want to let her speak real quick because she is kind of an expert on these two as well.
Yeah, hi,
Okay, then me?
Mariana
Okay,
Hike
thanks.
here out of this district, been living here in Dallas since 2003. I'm also part of the Carpenters Union, and I do a lot in the community when it comes to apprenticeship utilization, pre-apprenticeship programs. Also sit on the advisory for Pierce County Skills Center, the LEAP Advisory, which is part of the city of Tacoma. The idea, obviously we want to have good paying jobs in our communities. We want to have local hire, we talked about that, making sure that money stays here. But most importantly though too, when we talk about apprenticeship utilization, we have Rogers High School, we have Pierce County Skills Center, all state recognized pre-apprenticeship programs. We have to create jobs and create a pipeline of these graduates, or else those programs do not get funding. Those students who are successful graduates will not get placed, and they move out of Pierce County. So we need to be able to meet the demand of what's happening. We're seeing people move out of King County, moving here to Pierce County. We talk about building homes, being able to afford these things. We can't do that if we do not have jobs here, good paying jobs. And we have access to healthcare. That also saves a benefit to the taxpayers when it comes to those subsidy programs. So take a look at that, think about that. Happy to have more in-depth conversations after this on truly what it means to have a project labor agreement and or a community workforce agreement. Again, it keeps that money here.
Mariana, so what are some of the ideas of creating jobs in this area?
Creating jobs, I mean, that's a kind of a broad question, but I'll give you a prime example. When we look at Canyon Road and we look at all those warehouses that were built, that wasn't built by a local contractor, I can tell you that. I mean, they maybe have some local subcontractors that are part of that project, which means these out-of-state contractors, they build, they take that money with them, and they're gone. But we have language that ties to these local projects that ensures that local hire is part of those projects. We put money that gets put in here from your local municipalities that ties it back into the apprenticeship program. So the warehouses, other comprehensive plans that come out from local cities and the counties. Again, having that language to help you create those jobs and be able to tie that.
Okay. We have one question on this side.
Yeah, she is exactly right what she said, but what you said, well, except for the local hires, that there's no provision in there. Just give me an example of a PLA that has preference for local hires, not apprentices, but juniors.
Can you check out Seattle Priority Hire or
That's Seattle.
or King County? But that's what I'm assuming. We're trying to do something here to allow for that. That's what these programs do. So I guess I'm not understanding.
You're saying it doesn't exist now.
It doesn't exist now. That's what my amendment is trying to stand
But
up.
when they're big jobs, unions are the only ones that can really handle the big jobs. And what happens is their union, has a B list for a visitor or whatever, and they come in and take the jobs. I mean, I've done that myself, just in that very same thing. Go to Portland, Seattle, but for locals, they killed that. The city killed that. I've never heard of a PLA that has specific for the locals.
Oh yeah, it does. And happy to share some of that contractual
Yeah,
language.
yeah.
That you
And
can
then
see
we're gonna
that.
take us on a side. We've got one question coming up. Vicki?
Hi there, Vicki again. I would like to talk on the PLAs. I'm someone who's worked under them in Seattle for most of my career. I've been a laborer for over 25 years. I have to go to Seattle for my work because we don't have the proper things in place here that guarantee that our work stays in our neighborhood. By the way, I live across the street from Jim Casma. And one of the things that I think is really important that we need to look at, when our schools are being built and our city buildings are being built and any of our roads are being worked on, those things should be set by union labor. We wanna make sure they're not out-of-state contractors. Recently here in Puyallup, we had our, city council, sell the Cornforth property for $1, and who did they sell it to? They sold it to a Portland contractor. So that work is all going out of state, and this is why I have come to so many of these meetings to speak up. I was a single mom who missed, I'm gonna cry now, how many of my kids' baseball games? Because I was working in Seattle, Bellevue, I built City Hall, I built Harbor Steps, I built all these places with help, of course, but because there was nothing like that in this area, and that's unfair. It's unfair to my children, for me not to be able to get a decent paying job in Puyallup. You would want that for your neighbors and your friends and things like that. I don't understand, just because someone's union, we're not dirt, okay? My union apprenticeship, those are college educated credits that they earn now, okay? That is college educated credits, and they can move up. We have, I just watched a laborer who moved up through the internship program at the Port of Seattle, and this young man went from 4 years of being a laborer, and now he's a construction manager. So we need to look at the betterment for our community. Stop the political ideas that unions are just leftists or whatever. We need to look at putting one job on the table. I talked to a young man today who's moving luggage around the airport. He's working 3 jobs. That man works 17 hours a day, and he's not making it. And I begged him to come talk to my union. So anyway, I'm all for the project labor agreement. One thing I will say that there's the Janus Act that allows you to separate, pull back. You still get the wage, but you just don't get the union benefits. So there is a way in, but you're not gonna get represented by those people. So you can be non-union and work under a PLA. But they are zip code, crazy in Seattle, Bellevue, and all that. I'm witness to it.
Thanks, Vicki. So when you get a chance to, make sure you connect with Billy.
Yeah, just a time check. We got about 20-25 minutes. We gotta clean up and be out of here by 7 o'clock. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make a comment on Canyon Road and all the warehouses and stuff like that. I work in construction. We're non-union. We built all this, non-union. So when you guys say union this, union that, it's wrong. It's all local. It's all
That's right.
local. Non-building warehouses.
And that's the one thing that we need to look at, is basically, we need to start working together as a community and not in silos, all right? I got it. So when we work in silos, all right, that's what we heard. And it's time for us now to come together and work together as a team. I got you, David, hold on. You had your hand up.
So I heard you say that right now you have 30 amendments. I'm gonna assume that we are not gonna have 30 amendments on the ballot in November.
No.
What's the criteria to get an amendment through on the ballot? What does it have to meet?
Well, the thing is, one, it means legal, because it goes to legal, all right? The lawyers then review those amendments to make sure it meets that threshold, all right? The second thing is, it's up to us to speak to each other and see if we're swaying each other to say, this we think is viable to be on the ballot. All right, and then the other one is the public input, all right, on that to do that.
So there's no min-max. We could, if you guys decided, vote on all 30.
There could be 0, there could be 30. I mean, we've taken into consideration, talking to different people, where kind of voter fatigue sets in, and kind of seeing that once you get over probably say 5, where if you're over that number, you're probably risking none of them passing, right? And so it's bringing us together to vote on what is actually important, and hopefully, only takes a majority plus 1, but hopefully that a majority of us can line on what are those 3, 4, or 5 things that we want to take to the voters.
Okay, I got the gentleman in the back.
Is it okay to stand?
Yes, please.
Thank you for being here. My name is Luke Rambo. I've lived in South Hill, whatever. I moved there in 2003 at the age of 22 years old, and we bought our first home, raised our family. We've lived here the whole time, and we love it. We like it very much. We're small business owners. We operate a Puyallup-based small business. We employ people all over King and Pierce County, and it's a service-based business. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The reason I wanted to come here today was really about transportation and roadways. I wanna say probably 2005-ish, I received this really nice flyer in the mail, and I don't remember what elected official had their name on it, but it was like, here's our transportation plan for the next 20 years. And I stapled that sucker to the garage wall, and I was like, I'm gonna keep an eye on this. Because I just didn't think that it was really gonna happen, but it had a lot of great ideas, it had a lot of turn lanes, it had a lot of solutions to what existed 25 years ago and still exists exactly the same today, only we have thousands and thousands and thousands of more homes and people and cars than we had 25 years ago. So the reason I wanted to be here today was just really, I guess C22 is kind of the focus for what I wanted to bring up.
Correct.
I think that as a community, I think it's incredibly important that we build for the future and not for the now. I think there are people that are lining their pockets with all these additions and buildings that are going in. I don't think there's extra infrastructure going in to support that growth. I don't think there's extra job opportunities going in to support that growth. I think most of the people that live in East Pierce County work in King County. I see that, I live that, I feel that. And I've observed that for a long time. So we don't have the employment opportunities, we don't have the roadways, the pathways. It takes me 45 minutes to get from my house the 4 miles to get to my children's high school at certain times of the day, and that's unacceptable. And I can't believe that there are people that buy those houses further south because they're gonna have to deal with that every single day that they live there. I don't understand why they would do that. They're just not familiar with it, I don't know. But the demand is there, and so they keep building them and they're selling. So anyway, I just wanted to convey my concerns as again, it doesn't matter if you've been here 2 years or 200 years. We're all in it together, and we want to be here to work towards solutions. So I appreciate you guys being here and listening, and that means a lot to us. I appreciate all you guys being here to work together towards solutions. And I will be interested to hear your thoughts.
Okay, thank you so much, Luke. I got one behind you, Lori. Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna stand with Luke. I'm with Luke on C22.
Okay.
I don't think the depth and breadth of the transportation issues in East Pierce County has really been assessed. It's profound, and Luke just gave one example. And I don't think how profound it is really resonating with the county decision makers and the prioritization that they're making on the transportation dollars. It is not only, well, one of the things I want to emphasize is that congestion needs to be measured differently. Level of service is not the way to go because level of service changes, and you change the definition of what's congested and what level of service is. It has to be determined by time to destination. Pick two points. I don't care which point you take. Let's just for fun, take Luke's neighborhood. Let's take from Shaw Road to 176th Street, and that is Military Road to 122nd Avenue.
Go that far.
Yeah. Try driving that. Oh, any
3 and 5.
from any time between 3 and 5.
Yeah.
You're creeping along at approximately 5 to 7 miles per hour for about 5 miles. Now, how would you spend a whole day working your job, and you're trying to go home, and it takes you as long to get from Shaw Road to Sunrise as it took you to get from wherever your employment is to Shaw Road. That is not acceptable. And Pierce County has been dragging their feet in getting 122nd Avenue fixed. They have a plan for it, but they haven't taken the steps to implement the plan. We need C22 to leverage the Pierce County prioritizing transportation decision makers to put East Pierce County, and the way we define that is between Meridian and Forever East, prioritize this area of the county that has been burgeoning with development and population, business as well as residential, tremendously with no improvements to the corridors. I'm sure you know that we worked really hard for about 1.5 years with WashDOT to get a plan for SR 162, which is almost as bad as 122nd Avenue, but not quite. But that's going to be exponentially worsened in just a year and a half until Holly's new highway opens. So that is expected to increase 100 to 150% in traffic. That's just a couple of examples. Up on Wine Lake Plateau, there's another dozen examples there. We all know we have state corridors, SR 7, 161, 162, 410, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them for Pierce County, and that's all well and good. But what serves those corridors are county arterials. When the state corridors fill, it dribbles over into the county arterials, they get full, and that dribbles over into the neighborhood networks, and that is where we are.
Okay, I understood, yes, we got that, so again, our time's gonna be short, so we got that. Lori and then Mike Elizabeth.
I have a very short comment. I came to this process brand new, and I've been to several of the county commission, the charter commission meetings. Fascinating to go, incredible to attend them. They're online, there's all the information's on the website. It takes some real grit to figure it out and go through it. But all of these things that I've heard here, some of these are not things that I've heard at the commission because there's not sufficient time. You can go to the commission, you can talk for 3 minutes about whatever your issue is, you can get your voice heard. I know not everybody has time to do that, they take written commentary. Please do that. These guys, 21 people are trying to make decisions for this whole county. It is amazing, and so they need the help and the input. Even if you just have the one issue, I have the one issue, which is I want our sheriff to be accountable and to follow the law. Seems really simple to me. I've learned about so many other things. I've seen these guys meet with people from the county, looking to them for guidance on, hey, I work with the county, what do I do about HR? We go to the charter. These things matter, and it's wonderful that you're all here, but get on the record.
Lori's gonna be serving in the next 10 years.
All videos online too, if you've got time, you can go back and watch.
Okay, Les, what question?
Exactly. I just want to kind of redouble down what they said on the transit stuff. My partner teaches in South Seattle. We lived on 136th Street previously. We now live north of the 512. The time, she would have to leave at 6 in the morning in order to get to her school by 8 a.m. And then coming home on days where they had to do their extra teaching stuff at 5, she wouldn't get home till 7:30. Now, she will get home by 6, just because she doesn't have to take Military Road or hit Meridian and all. So, the amount of traffic time that adds is absolutely absurd. I'll also just say, this is me having been, lived in Spokane for most of my life. The bus service that Spokane County does somehow versus here is insane to me, because I know there were times where I've come back here and I've bussed down from the airport or something like that because I took a trip, don't want to leave my car there for obvious reasons. And I'll get in at 4:30 or so, my plane will arrive, get down here by about 7:30, close to 8 o'clock when you take the public transit down. And there's no buses from the Puyallup Depot going down Meridian at all after 8 o'clock. That is wild to me.
Just to point in time again, I want to recap a little bit. So we've talked about C-22 is a big thing, right? We've talked about the conflict of interest piece. We've talked about term limits. I want to leave any time for any other issues, and we can take any of that stuff offline. You can reach us via email and stuff too. If there are any other things that folks want to discuss.
We want to do it real short there, so yes.
Okay, I'm gonna consolidate a couple of points here.
Yes.
My name is Vince Lamar. I live in District 4. And I do have a son and a daughter-in-law, 3 grandkids in this district. I have 8 grandkids. So I think I should be heavily weighted on my voice, bodies in the teens in this county. So, but anyway, an overall arching thing, I think one of the concerns that we have as people right now in politics and our leaders is a lack of trust, concerns for integrity, and so on and so forth. Now, I know this has been designed as a non-partisan, but in a way, those words and how it's designed is a joke. Because I was recruited to run for one of these offices. And, you know, I won, with Brenda at an election party, and I won, and then 48 hours later, I lost, because 1,000 mail-in ballots came in for the person behind me. So, I was recruited for this job. So this is partisan stuff. All the way it's partisan. And to say it's not partisan, you know, what we need to do is we need to back up our words. Now when we write proposals, they need to be nonpartisan. They need to not be influenced by media, influenced by social media, and public opinion. They need to be addressed in a fair and impartial manner, which brings me to C1 about voting for our sheriff rather than it being appointed. The last group I met with District 4, they right out said, I don't like the guy. I don't like what he did, what he said. That should not be a standard for making policy.
Here, here.
You know, you're making policy for the position that carries on for 10 years. And the reason that those kinds of statements are made is because they're partisan. Now, a little advice to you, young man. How you dress, what you wear, we're all looking at it. So, you know.
Yeah, you don't care.
You know, if
you don't care.
If you, I mean, if you know, you're a commissioner. I mean, I don't mind, but it matters, you know, how we present, what we represent, you know, how we serve the public. We're here.
Wearing vitamin R, you are there.
What's that?
So what, you're wearing the Rainier Beer R on here.
Why are you taking shots at me? I know why I'm wearing what I'm wearing. I'm not on the council. I'm not a commissioner. I'm not serving the public. You understand that? I didn't. I tried to, but you know, I got bounced out of there. But what I'm saying, in terms of consolidation of power, checks and balances, we need to vote for our sheriff. We can't have it appointed by the power structure. You see this from a national standpoint. Wouldn't you like to vote for your FBI director?
No.
You wouldn't?
I also don't need to vote for my sheriff. I'm fine with not voting.
Well, I'm saying,
and comments were made for us.
Okay, I'm sorry. In that situation, your sheriff is accountable to the people because we voted for him. He's not accountable to the county executive or the.
Time check, we're running low on time, you just said that.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. I'm in the room.
All right.
And I will be heard.
Understood. Let us do that. All right?
Time check, please.
But anyway, I was here, I listened to everybody raise their hands like 3 times and just sat here patiently, and then now you guys you're chopping at me? What's the deal? But anyway, that's pretty much, you know, supporting that fair and impartial.
You bet.
You know, and for 10 years, you have to really look at the litmus test. If you choose to, you know, vote for, for a county sheriff, the same process needs to be done. If someone was not controversial, was respected in your opinion, then that policy needs to be done if it's a policy that needs to be done. Not because you don't like an individual.
Yes.
And I think that is like witch hunting and a terrible, unfair, impartial, not a partial situation, so.
Let me have your name again?
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Let me have your name again. Vince? Okay, just one.
Vince Navarro.
All right, so in closing, what we're gonna do, Billy. Who did you get to talk?
Oh, go ahead, I have it.
Come on, okay, go ahead.
Really quick, what I wanted to say is our discussion for 20 minutes about labor and about hiring people in the local area, right? That sounds great, that's what we want to do. But double standard, here we are saying that we want to have this position appointed and this position appointed, so we can go nationally to find a sheriff, nationally to find a clerk. That's double talk here. Are we for our community or not?
Thank you very much. All right, so we appreciate everybody's comments. Thank you for being patient with me by saying, please be respectful. What, quick introduction, Colleen, you going up the hill?
I'm sorry, I have to leave.
You going up the hill?
Yeah, I'm going to the other meeting.
All right, no, I'll be there in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Billy, please introduce some of the amendments that your proposals that you're doing so they can connect online and do that. So what are you working on?
Yeah, just C12 that I spoke to earlier, so we don't have to hash that out anymore. I'm working with Councilmember O'Leary on C22 as well, because I am very passionate about infrastructure on some of the things that I currently serve as the president of the Washington State Road Association. It's the longest serving advocacy for transportation association in our state's history, been around since 1899. So transportation is not a partisan issue for me. We need to be able to make sure that people can move freely in our county to be able to get home to be with their families, right? And that's just that we've done advocacy work at the state level. Just in Governor Ferguson's budget and the budget that was passed, we increased maintenance and preservation funding by 39%, right? Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars more than we've ever spent on preservation and maintenance. People are starting to realize, well, they should have realized a long time ago, but that our infrastructure is failing, right? So that's just, those are a couple things that are passionate and things I'm working on.
All right, what I'm working on right now is a couple of things. The first thing is the clerk of Superior Court. We're looking at making that as an elected position. For there, I really believe that they should stay constitutional and the people should have the right to choose who they want to be. Right now, for me, is what I see is the patterns going on right now with the county is that they want to have more of government overreach. From there, by making mostly everything across the board appointed. All right, and that is something that we have found out on Monday night, and stuff that didn't make me happy. So the thing is, this is why it's so important that, yes, we can change things, but you gotta look at the end result after they've been voted, all right? So.
What amendment is that?
But that's, what did I say for this one? See, that's, P1.
P1.
That's P1. All right, from the Superior Court. The second thing I'm working on is called the public stability and financial support. What I'm trying to do, because we know that we have shortages across the board, whether it be law enforcement, correctional facility, the judges and so forth, is ensuring that the money stays in their budget and not go to the county. The practice right now is this, and I found out more about it today. If every pay period, the county goes and assess each one of those departments of how many vacancies they have, the dollars that goes against those vacancies, they take that money, all right, and then it goes into the general fund, all right? So for example, I looked at one of the law enforcement departments there, close to $6 million was sent back to the county. But they are not able to get a portion of that or even all of it back so that they can focus on recruitment for hire, all right? But there's more to that on there, but that's just the cover on there. The second thing I'm doing is requesting public advisory panel, because Vince brought up a good point. The pattern that I saw right now is that we don't have accountability. The accountability should not be within the executive's corner. The accountability should be public. All right, and that's the one thing I'm seeing that's missing. We don't have any public intervention in regards to this to ensure that what we wrote in the amendment, the money's being spent, all right, we can't see it, the public don't know. All right, so that's one of the things from there, and that one's gonna be C14, Lori, on that one, C14, C15. All right, for there. The next one I'm on is the medical examiner. You know, I'll be recommending that to be the county council's decision instead of the voting decision. But basically, we're changing just the language, all right, from coroner to medical examiner, because the medical examiner is a licensed physician or a licensed medical person who can properly determine what happens to that body and give you more accuracy. The coroner does not have that qualification, all right, and do that. So that's just a language change. In regards to that from there. So those are the things that I am submitting and working on. Once again, we're asking you, all right, to please go on that website and do that. Now, my last comment is this: when it comes to experience, everybody's talking about experience. And I'm gonna say this, I'm retired military over 25 years. Anybody that's been in the military? All right, so when we go in the military, we don't know squat, do we? We're trained for all jobs that takes a person a 4-year degree and an 8-year degree to get, is that correct?
Depending on the job.
Depending on the job, all right? The only jobs that we don't get to do is being a doctor, a lawyer, or anything else like that, but every single thing that's in this, let's talk about Puyallup, we're trained above and beyond. So when people talk about qualifications, whether it be of the law enforcement, correctional facility, or whatever the case may be, those people have been trained by the academy and met those requirements that they're supposed to have. Once that they met the requirements of the end position, just like in the military, it's our responsibility to enhance our skills and abilities. Meaning we take extra classes, we go to take courses, we take whatever it takes to enhance our skills so that we can be promoted to the next level. So when people come to me about the person's not qualified, they need more qualification skills, the person has met the qualification. The question is the person willing to enhance what he or she has so they can be more advantageous to the community to provide more quality work? So once we look at once again, assess about a person in a job, all right, the thing is, if the person met the qualifications, then I'm back at that point where, okay, thank you so much. We're at the point there where it has to meet 3 thresholds. Was it malfeasant? Was it misconduct or violation? If it doesn't meet those 3, all right, then it doesn't give us as the charter members the justification to submit or revise the proposal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let's hear from Liz.
Yeah, thank you. So I am also working on P1. I am in favor for the clerk of the county being elected. Currently, it is appointed. So the reason for that is with an elected clerk, we get direct accountability to the voters. The clerk will have the, he'll be free, he or she will be free to move and do whatever, you know, they need to do to secure, you know, to keep our files, our records, payments, court records and cases secure. Also, it's a separation of power. We don't need the executive appointing a clerk. Right now, it's in the executive's hands. And I believe one of the statements was, he searched far and wide all over the country and then found someone in Tacoma. So that sounds a little bit fuzzy to me. You know, and also the integrity of the office. You know, the clerk needs to be able to do their job without oversight from the executive. So that's one of the reasons why I am for not only the sheriff, but the clerk being elected. Okay, so speaking on conflict of interest, I didn't really get to say much against that, but yes, I was one of the Pierce County employees, and you know what, it's okay. Because now they've all changed their tune, and all the executive level personnel are saying, oh wait, it is okay for the Pierce County employees to serve on the Charter Review Commission. Because again, it is only short term, we are unpaid, we cannot make laws, we cannot raise anybody's pay. We can only make recommendations by amendments from either us or the public. So there you go. Also, I wanted to state that at least half a dozen commissioners out of 21 do have a background in nonprofits. They get paid by Pierce County through a nonprofit. So it's a paycheck to them. So that to me is a conflict of interest. Also, there's at least 3, if not 4, commissioners currently running for office in various roles. State legislature, county council. How is that not a conflict of interest? So when you're pointing fingers at me, you have to remember the rules for D and not for me may apply. So again, that's my comments on that. And let's see, I think that is all I have, but thank you.
All right, we're closing up. Thank you so much for coming. Don't forget, we're at Rogers High School.